Welcome to Prescribing Lifestyle, the podcast that's all about empowering you to live your healthiest, happiest life. I'm your host, Dr. Avi Charlton, and each week we'll dive into the latest research, practical tips, and inspiring stories to help you optimize your well-being. From nutrition and fitness to mental health and mindfulness, we'll explore every aspect of lifestyle medicine, giving you the tools you need to make informed decisions and take control of your health. Whether you're looking into preventing disease, managing chronic conditions, or simply elevate your quality of life, Prescribing Lifestyle is here to guide you on your journey to wellness. So, sit back, relax, and get ready to embark on this transformative adventure towards a healthier, happier you. Let's dive in. Doesn't matter. Hello everybody, welcome to another episode of Prescribing Lifestyle. Today I've invited a guest all the way from Atlanta in America. She is Shannon Davis. She's a registered dietitian of 18 years. Now she specializes in metabolic health. She's got experience in organ transplant, bariatrics, sports nutrition, nephrology, which is kidneys, and pharmaceutical sales. She has her own virtual preventative metabolic health business, and she's on the founding board of the New American Diabetes Society, which is founded by lots of big names like Dr. Ken Berry. She's a coach for Dr. Ben Bigman's Insulin IQ, and she's a dietitian for Owner Health with Dr. Mariella Glant. She's very passionate in helping people shift their focus to insulin resistance away from calorie counting in order to heal from chronic disease. She does CrossFit, she weightlifts, she runs, she rides horses, and lots of outdoor activities. She's a champion, and I'm so excited to have her on the podcast today. Welcome, Shannon.
Thank you so much for having me. And, across the pond, I guess you would call it. I'm so honored to be here. And it's so exciting to talk to people that are so passionate about, insulin resistance and metabolic health and diabetes as you and I both are.
Yeah, absolutely. I've been following your journey, and we talk very similar language from all across the world. And you work with so many big names up in the low-carb world. Tell us how you got into low-carb.
Well, it wasn't because that's what they taught us in school. I can tell you that. I am been doing this for quite a long time, for 18 years. And, what they taught us in school was the conventional, eat every 2 to 3 hours, 6 to 12 servings of carbohydrates, make sure you get plenty of fruits and vegetables, low fat, the leanest proteins, that type. And especially with diabetes, we were taught, for someone with diabetes, 45 to 60 grams of carbs per meal. Make sure that we do snacks, and make sure you have a snack before you go to bed. It was never, let's talk about if you have a low blood sugar, let's talk about reducing medicine. No, if you have a low blood sugar, let's eat more food to fix that. Never really, is chasing the blood sugar with the medicine, not reverse. And so back in 2018, I had always kind of wondered, like being in organ transplant, not one time ever in our liver transplant did we ever talk about, that sugar and processed carbs caused fatty liver. We talked about fat caused fatty liver. And kidney, and I spent 12 years in dialysis clinics. Not one time did we ever talk about, the two main causes of dialysis are, hypertension and diabetes, which stem from insulin resistance. So all of this happened, and it never quite set right, but I didn't really go down the low carb road until 2018. I tried to have a baby, and it did not work. And so we went down the whole IVF road, and it was a whole year of, lots of hormones, lots of injections, and never one time did did the reproductive endocrinologist or anybody ever talk about what I ate or drank. Now, maybe it's because I knew I was a dietitian that I just knew, but still that didn't seem right. And every test came out clean. There's nothing wrong with me, except I still couldn't get pregnant. So I went down the whole road of, okay, I've heard about ketogenic diets, improving fertility. I've heard about, improving metabolism. And at that point, I was all in. And you know as well as I do, once you see, you can't unsee.
Yes,
and it was
right.
just, I couldn't stop. It was like, it made so much sense. Dr. Jason Fung, Dr. Ben Bickman, Dr. Robert Lustig, all of these people. And I'm like, okay, there's something to this. All the science is there. And so I went low carb. And I would go between keto and low carb, but I started intermittent fasting and it changed my life. It changed my life. I could think clearer. I wasn't a slave to when I'm going to eat. My performance in the gym, I'm a big gym person, got better. And, think about it. People were like, how is it getting better? You're eating less often. Aren't you like supposed to eat right after you work out? I'm like, no, that's not necessarily how it is. That just opened the doors to so many things. And then in 2022, I got introduced, me and my best friend, got introduced to a company that has a nutraceutical that we got involved with that helps people break free from the carb addiction, implement intermittent fasting. And it's just been my journey since. And now I quit my full-time job in pharmaceutical sales to be part of this whole low carb community and give back and truly try to help people see the truth. I say, I feel like people need to know.
Absolutely. That's amazing. Did you end up falling pregnant? Did you get a baby?
No baby, but that's okay. It was really sad for a minute. And I just released it to God and was like, if it's meant to be, it's going to happen. But, I gained so much from it though, Dr. Charlton. I gained so much in I probably would have never been exposed to this amazing world of low carb had I not gone down that journey. So
yeah. And tell us how you're working with the Dr. Ken Berry and the new American Diabetes Society. Tell us about that.
Oh, it's going to be amazing. So as we know, we have here in the United States, we have the American Diabetes Association. I'm quite embarrassed to say that is our leading authority on diabetes management, because when you open it up and you see recipes like oatmeal with berries and a glass of orange juice, I mean, really give me a break. That's causing diabetes, not reversing it. And so, Dr. Berry and Dr. Bickman and Dr. Eric Westman and Dr. Mariella Glant, we just know that what we're doing is not working. I don't know about Australia, but I'm extremely embarrassed for our country. 93% of the United States has insulin resistance.
Wow.
93%.
That is actually a higher number than when I last quoted.
It's disheartening when you look around and 7 out of the 10 people around you are sick. So to me, it means we're doing something wrong. We have all this new medication that pops up on our TV. I know y'all don't have it on your TV, but we do. Every other commercial is a new med. And yet people are sicker and sicker and they're getting fatter and fatter. And we have to do something different. So the American Diabetes Society is looking at how can we reverse and heal people through a low carb ketogenic diet, because as you know, diabetes is a disease, or type 2 of a carbohydrate. Dr. Berry likes to say carbohydrate toxicity and insulin resistance. We have too much insulin. And I love Dr. Jason Fung, how he puts it. He's like, why are we giving more insulin to somebody that already has too much? We're treating
Yes.
a symptom and not the problem. So the American Diabetes Society, we are all about treating the problem and showing people, yes, it does not have to be a chronic and progressive illness if you fix it from the root.
Yeah, totally agree. That's amazing. Because the American Diabetes Association, that's funded by Big Foods.
Big foods and big pharma. I mean, one of the main funding sources is Eli Lilly. Eli
Ah, there you go.
Lilly is one of the top insulin producers. So it just
Yes.
makes sense.
Yes, that's the thing. That's great. And so what are the what's the American Diabetes Society? What's it trying to like educate people, or is it trying to publish guidelines?
So we've had our first meeting and it's
Hmm.
public. We're making all of our board meetings public. We're
Hmm.
working on coming up with our mission statement now.
Hmm.
Um,
Okay.
but there are 4 dietitians in there. So
Mm.
there's Michelle Hearn, who's Eat, Meat, and Repeat.
Yes.
Um, there's Temple Stewart, she's the ketogenic dietitian. And
Mm.
then that's who she goes by. Then there's Shanna Husin, and then there's myself. So we're going to publish articles on there. We're going to provide recipes, and then we're going to provide guidelines for a low carb ketogenic approach to reversing diabetes. So we're going to have, we kind of talked about it at our first meeting. We're going to
Mm.
have something for even vegetarians. While it may be hard, we're
Mm.
still we don't want to exclude anyone. We want
Okay.
everyone to be able to come here and find us as a valuable resource on their journey to getting healthy, metabolically healthy.
Mm. That's amazing. That's great. So
Yeah.
much, yeah, so much exciting things happening.
Very, very exciting. And, Dr. Bickman's got his Insulin IQ, which is a great coaching platform for people that, I mean, you don't even have to have diabetes, but
Yep.
if you're overweight, if you have, fatty liver, if you
Mhm.
are, interested in fasting, it's such a fantastic platform. They've got a course, a 90-day to reversing insulin resistance. And so, um, I'm part of their coaching, and it's just this community, including you, even though we're,
Mhm.
across the world from each other, is
Yep.
such a tight-knit community. And
Mhm.
um, to me, it's just, it makes my heart so happy to see so many people kind of opening their eyes. I don't know if you saw recently, Tucker Carlson is a news guy over here. He did a interview with Casey and Callie Means.
Oh yeah.
Um,
Yep, yep.
and it was, I think it's kind of shaken our country for the good.
Mm. Yeah.
And yeah, oh yeah, to kind of expose, look, guys, is the big food and big pharma hold hands here. And, we've got to do something different. The food, we are literally eating ourselves to death,
Yeah, yeah.
eating ourselves to death.
Yeah, there's so much processed food in the American diet, and Australia's really not that much far behind. We're really just following the same trajectory. Maybe a little bit behind, but we're not. We've lots of obese people and diabetics as well.
Oh, and, I tell people all the time, I'm like, you can ask a 4-year-old child, are donuts, are cookies, is ice cream and cake healthy? They're going to probably say no. And as adults, we know that, but yet we can't stop eating it. So
Yes.
that should really like wake us up to like what's really going on here. If we know these things, we
Hmm.
know these foods lead to disease. Why are we continuing to eat them? It's because we're addicted. We can't stop.
Yeah. Most people know the sugars are bad, but a lot of people don't know the carbs are bad too. The
Yeah,
rice,
very true.
potato, pasta, and we've got a big Italian community in Melbourne, and or bread, they just can't stop their bread and the pasta.
Yeah, yeah. And it's funny, I'm glad you said that because I remember I was doing a dietary recall on a client And he goes, Shannon, I eat no sugar. I don't eat any sugar. And I'm like, that is amazing. So let's talk about what we eat. And he goes, well, I eat oatmeal for breakfast. I have a little bit of pasta for lunch, and I eat a sandwich for dinner. And so,
Yeah.
you and I it just comes natural, but we forget that not everybody, understands that it doesn't have to be sweet to be sugar.
That's it. A lot of my patients say, "Oh, I eat really healthy. I eat very good, and I have wheat bix." Don't know if you know what wheat bix is.
Yes, yeah.
It's supposed to be really healthy according to the Australians.
Yeah.
Wheat bix for breakfast, and then they might have a pie or pastry or sausage roll for lunch, which is probably processed foods, and then they have pasta for dinner.
Right. And then we sit at desk jobs all day. We don't move.
Yes. Yes.
So I have been wearing a CGM
Oh,
for the
yeah.
last 2 weeks because
Okay.
I'm kind of doing an experiment on myself. I have a lot of clients, a lot that are carnivore. And so I
Okay.
have been intermittent fasting myself.
Hmm.
Like I said, since 2018, I typically go 14 to 18 hours a day. Typically more 16-ish. And
Yeah.
I would say I keep my carbs under 50. But I wanted to be able to speak it from like, I completely understand it. I empathize. So I am doing my own carnivore experience.
Okay.
Or I'm saying 30, but I probably need to do 90. I went and had full lab work done, everything. And I wear my CGM and it's been very flat. And
Okay.
so I've been taking screenshots of my blood sugars because
Hmm.
as I mentioned, I'm using nutraceutical with my clients
Hmm.
that it's a yerba mate concentrate that you drink throughout the day. So I'll
Hmm.
drink it and I have a dip in my blood sugar. So it shows
Oh.
my blood sugar coming down. And then you mix up this fiber matrix before your meal. And
Hmm.
Dr. Bigman studied it in his lab at BYU. The yerba mate increases GLP-1, your own production, 60 to 70%, which makes fasting a breeze. And
Okay.
then the fiber matrix lowers glucose postprandial
Hmm.
34 to 43%. So you drink it directly before you eat, and my blood sugar
Hmm.
goes down. So,
Hmm.
so I see that, but then when I was speaking of we sit, I try to walk after I eat,
Yeah.
and and then last night I did a 15-minute walk after my carnivorous dinner,
Yeah.
blood sugar goes down to 66. Can you believe that? Like, and I feel
Wow.
great. But it just shows, I take it and show my client. I'm like, that's the power of just moving. After
Yes.
you,
Yes.
it
Yes.
wasn't a power walk, it wasn't a run, it
Hmm.
was a stroll with my dog. And
Great.
your muscles suck it up. And so I think
Yeah.
that's a great tool.
Yeah. We're just coming out of winter, so we should be able to get out walking after dinner more now. We had
We're
a
about to enter winter.
yeah, that's it. Yeah. That's
Yeah.
great. So, how long have you tried this carnivore for now?
Today is day 9, so not very
Mm,
long.
how you feeling?
Um, I will say that my mind wants more, but my body feels satiated. So
Yeah.
it's like, it's that mental like hunger, but the
Mm-hmm.
physical hunger is gone. But I will tell you, I love vegetables. I really do.
Mm-hmm.
My favorite are like Brussels sprouts and cauliflower. I love those things, but
Okay.
they don't always love me. And
Yeah.
so sometimes when I eat them, my stomach gets distended and I can get gassy. But
Okay.
it's funny because I've had a flat stomach and zero gas for 9 days. Like my tummy is amazing. Um,
Wow.
yeah, but my energy levels have kind of been up and down. I'm a big CrossFitter early in the morning, and then I
Mm-hmm.
noticed it's a little struggle to kind
Mm-hmm.
of get going. But
Yeah.
uh, but I've doubled up on my electrolytes, and I'm drinking my yerba mate tea, and
Okay.
so I'm loving it. I'm gonna give it, and who knows? Who knows? Maybe I'll I'll keep it going. But at least now I can talk about it from like I completely understand what you're going
Yeah.
through kind of
Great.
standpoint.
What are you eating? Tell us on a typical day what you eat as a carnivore now.
So today I had, of course, my yerba mate tea, and then I had 2 packs of electrolytes. Today it was the Redmond's Relight, so I
Okay.
like that one.
Mm-hmm.
And then for lunch I had 4 eggs,
Mm-hmm.
pasture raised free range eggs with, probably um, 2 tablespoons of grass-fed butter. And
Okay.
then I put some Parmesan cheese on top of that. And then
Yum.
I had it with, I had some leftover ribeye steak. So that was lunch. And then
Yum.
dinner, I had 2 big chicken breasts, four
Okay.
eggs, more, probably, again, this is probably again, I'm getting used to it. I probably had half a block of cheese, so 4 ounces of cheese,
Okay.
and some Greek yogurt because I
That
wanted
sounds
something
like a lot
sweet.
of food.
Yeah, but I'm not like I don't feel too stuffed,
Okay.
like it's weird.
Sure. All
Because
right.
it's not voluminous,
Yes.
like fibery and voluminous. So
Yeah.
it's like you feel good. Like I
Okay.
feel like I could, I don't feel like overly stuffed when you eat like a big salad. You're
Yeah.
like, you're distended and uncomfortable. No.
Great. That's
Yeah.
amazing. So
Yeah.
not sure if you'll do it forever or short term, not sure.
Yeah, not sure. I just ordered a couple cookbooks because I think I need to get creative. You can do all kinds of stuff. You can
Yeah.
make the chicken pizza crust, the cottage cheese pizza crust. You can make cheesecake. You can make cinnamon rolls. I mean, you can do all this stuff.
Yeah.
You can make bread and, carnivore bread and all this. I'm just kind of simple.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
just, yesterday I had the like a little we call it Canadian bacon over here, but it's really just a round circle of ham. So I
Okay.
had that with a sunny like a runny egg and a piece of cheese and it was amazing. So
Great.
it's just finding the simple pleasure.
Yes. Yes. I'm not quite carnivore. I do have a lot of patients that are carnivore, but then there are lots of patients that don't know anything about carnivore. So this will be
Yeah.
interesting for the different listeners that listen to this podcast. A lot of my
Yeah.
meals, yeah, a lot of my meals are carnivore meals because I just don't have veggies in the fridge. But usually at night we'll have some veggies because the
Yeah.
kids and they can't have so much meat, and I put veggies on the plate.
Yeah. I see your meals when you post them on, I've seen a couple pictures
Yeah.
of them on your social media and yeah, they look tasty. But I was blessed. So I grew up on a beef cattle farm. And so
Okay.
my dad gifted me half a cow. So I have a freezer full of beef, farm raised beef
Wow.
that I don't have to buy any beef.
Okay.
So that does help.
Yeah,
Uh,
yeah. We've actually got a beef farm about an hour away from the city, but I keep nagging my husband to we should butcher a cow, and but
yes.
yeah, but he never got around to it. So eventually, I think we will do that.
You might could get, how many children do you have?
I have two boys, they're 12 and 15.
Okay, so they probably eat a lot. I was going to say you might could get away with half a cow, but
Yeah,
if
yeah.
they're big eating boys, you might want to do a full cow.
They eat a lot, but not enough protein to my standard.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I mean, I think that it's funny because being in nephrology for so long, we were always taught that if you have chronic kidney disease, you need to restrict protein. And now
Yes.
the studies are coming out saying not necessarily. And so,
Yeah.
some of the nephrologists are like, I send them all these studies and you
Yeah.
get you can tell they're kind of not open to it. But
Mm,
protein, I mean, our ancestors ate protein. We wouldn't be here today if we
mm,
didn't protein and meat. So
that's it.
I still think should be the center of your diet.
Yeah, yeah. Most of the time, the kidney disease is because of diabetes and hypertension.
Absolutely.
And if you treat those with a low carb diet, hypertension gets better, diabetes get better, then eating the protein isn't a problem usually.
Exactly.
Mm.
Exactly. But, it's still the misconception that, restrict salt, restrict the
Yes,
salt and, watch the fat. It's still ingrained.
it's
It's still
still,
ingrained.
yes, yes. I was going to ask you, as a dietitian, people on carnivore diets, is that nutrient sufficient in your opinion or in your studies?
Absolutely. I think you can get almost every necessary nutrient needed from a carnivore diet.
Mm-hmm.
I think that if you're going to do it for lifelong, like this is going to be your complete way of life,
Mm-hmm.
I think it's super important that you probably include some organ meat in there
Yep.
to make
Mm-hmm.
sure that you're getting like your vitamin A and you don't need a lot, but I
Mm-hmm.
do think it's necessary to make sure that you get everything.
Mm-hmm.
Um, for me, I kind of could see myself. Um, Again, I can't say that I'm going to stop. I don't know where I'm going to stay with it, but let's just
Mm-hmm.
say I don't. I definitely could see myself doing it like once a month, every
Mm-hmm.
quarter, for 30
Okay.
days, kind of cyclic with the
Yep.
seasons. I think I do think that there's some benefit to kind of changing things with the season. I think,
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
adding a little bit of fiber here and there, um, allowing your gut microbiota to kind of change, um, may not be a bad thing.
Mm. So maybe a month carnivore and then another month omnivorous.
Yeah, yeah,
Okay.
yeah. But I
Mm-hmm.
will always, always be a faster and a low carber. I just
Mm-hmm.
don't ever see it any other way. And um, I I feel great.
Yep.
I don't feel like I'm restricted. I
Mm-hmm.
feel my mind is clear. I mean, you know that from living that lifestyle too. And I think that if you can do that, you're doing the best possible thing to keep yourself metabolically healthy.
Absolutely. What's your usual fasting regime? What do you normally do? Like 16/8
Um,
or 24?
Yeah, typically 16/8, but I will tell you some days you just get so busy that
Mm-hmm.
it's not purposefully, but you end up going 20 or there's been days when I've gone 24 and it's not intentional, but when you're metabolically flexible, you
Mm-hmm.
can do it and it's okay. Especially
Yeah.
on travel days. I just don't like to spend so much money at the airport on food. So it's easier just to say I'm just gonna fast.
Mm,
And
that's
you
it. And
know,
you can't get anything. It's very hard to get good foods in the airport.
it is. Yeah, it
Mm-hmm.
is. It's so hard. So yeah, you just bring your empty bottle. You can fill it up with water at the airport. And my little yerba mate teas come in these little stick packs, so they're
All
easy to
right.
pack. And I
Okay.
just dump them in my water bottle and I'm on my way.
Mhm. Do you worry about fasting longer, like 36 or 48 hours?
So I personally am not done a 36 or 48 hour. I'm not opposed to it. I
Mm-hmm.
know I'm one of these hard-headed people that if I decide I'm going to do it, I can do it. But
Mm-hmm.
um, I know the benefits of it especially for autophagy. I think that we probably all could benefit from at least once a year doing a 36 or 48 hour fast,
Mm-hmm.
even, and then depending on how metabolically sick you are,
Mm-hmm.
I think that if you're overweight and you have extremely uncontrolled diabetes, I could see a 36-hour once a week. I mean, you're the physician. What do you
Yep.
recommend on
Yeah,
your patient?
absolutely.
Yeah,
Absolutely. I usually do say once a week do a 24-hour fast, other
yeah,
days 16/8, and then every now and then 36 or even 48 if you can train up
yeah,
to it.
absolutely, absolutely. And do you have your patients test ketones? Do you have them check ketones or um,
Yeah, sometimes I do suggest that they do check, but m most of them they get too worried about it and it
yeah,
complicates things too much. So I don't usually actively advocate.
Yeah. I'm kind of like that too, because the last thing I want to do is create an eating disorder or an
Yes.
obsession with
Yes.
food, right?
Yeah.
I don't ever want to do that. And I don't want people to be afraid of food.
Mm-hmm.
I want people to think of food as nourishment
Yep.
and not, and we are human. We do get pleasures. That's part of society, is in enjoying things. So I don't want people to be so afraid, to eat things. So I'm kind of with you on that. But I think if, people are still so stuck on calories, if we can swap it to carbs, then we'll be better off.
Yes, that's right. That's it. Fantastic. Um, have you got any final tips that you want to share with our listeners about how our listeners can improve their health?
I think that you have so many different types of diets. I mean, you
Yeah.
have keto, you have carnivore, you have paleo, vegan, vegetarian, you name it.
Mm-hmm.
And I think we all think ours is great,
Yeah,
the one that
that's
we
it.
follow.
Yeah.
But I think if we simply can eliminate processed foods, then we're all going to win. Truly, if you can eliminate processed foods, you eliminate seed oils, you eliminate added sugar, and you eliminate all the chemicals and the addictive properties in food. And if you can not drink your, like eat food, don't drink it, right?
Yep.
Don't blend it up, don't juice it, stick to it, then move. I really think that anybody can fix their own health if they adopt those principles. Eliminate processed foods, focus on protein, fiber, and fat,
Yeah.
and move. I think that you can reverse most chronic disease.
Yeah, that is amazing. Yeah, that's great, Shannon. Tell us where people can find you.
Well, I'm over here in the United States. I'm here in Atlanta. I live in Atlanta, Georgia. I am on TikTok. I do a lot of TikTok education, and trust me, that took a lot of work, but I made myself do it.
Okay,
And
great.
so I'm at fit to eat 6580, fit to eat 6580. I have an Instagram account. You would think they would all be the same names, but they're not. SL Davis,
Yeah.
SL Davis 6580. And I also have a Facebook page called Functional Foodie RX. And so I educate people every day on all these platforms. I love doing it. I'm happy to coach people if they need a coach. I do utilize my tools through my coaching. I use this yerba mate concentrate and this fiber matrix. And again, this is been unbelievable in helping people kind of adopt the fasting lifestyle and break up with carbs per se, if they can't do it on their own. And I've been extremely successful. I think my most successful patient was an A1C of 16.2, dropped down to 5.2. They lost 186 pounds through intermittent fasting, focusing on fiber, fat, and protein in these 3 packs right here.
Oh, wow.
And that, can you believe? I mean, that just melts my heart every day.
Yeah. This yerba mate is Ben Bickman's, is it? Is it
It is.
Unicity? That's the link that you sent me.
Correct. Yes.
Great.
It's
All right.
it's made by a company called Unicity. Dr. Bickman just did the most recent study published in his lab at BYU, where he studied the effects that the yerba mate has on your own GLP-1. And then also, you're going to appreciate this. The University of Sydney studied the fiber matrix balance, and showed the lowering of the glucose. Also, the Cleveland Clinic has studied this to show it could replace lipid lowering meds for people with, high cholesterol. So we've got a lot of science to back it up. But I'm one of these people, when I see it in real life, helping people, that means more than a study to me, right? Because I'm real world seeing it. But I haven't, I mean, it's my triglycerides went from 250 to 50 using this. And my HDL went from 53 to 122, and I didn't change anything else. And so I'm passionate about it because I've seen it help my family and so many of my clients. But, you know, there's nothing magic. It's the lifestyle. But when people can't do it on their own and they need help, I would much rather them take something natural than a medication. So.
Great. All right. Well, thank you very much for coming on to the Prescribing Lifestyle, Shannon. That is a great chat.
Thank you so much for having me. It's such a pleasure, and I'm honored to have met you. So keep up all that you're doing. You definitely inspire a lot of people.
Thank you for following all across the world, and must be almost 11. You should be going to bed.
Oh, it's okay.
All right, for all our listeners, thank you for tuning in. Until next time, we'll have another guest over. Thank you for tuning in to another episode of Prescribing Lifestyle Podcast. Before we wrap up, I have an exciting news to share. I have a new ebook called Low Carb Made Easy. It's now available. This guide is perfect for anyone looking to dive into the low carb lifestyle. Inside, you'll find the basic theory behind low carb eating, a detailed food list, practical meal plan, and a variety of delicious recipes. It's designed to make a journey to better health easier, simpler, and enjoyable. For those who prefer a hard copy, head over to my website and register your interest using the link provided. My website is www.mlcclinic.com.au. Head to online store. Remember, the information shared in this podcast, it's for educational purposes only and not proper medical advice. Always consult your medical professional before making any changes to your lifestyle and diet, or you can come and see me in Melbourne Low Carb Clinic. If you enjoyed this episode, don't forget to subscribe, leave a review, and stay connected with us on social media. Your feedback will help us improve and reach more listeners. Lastly, if you found this episode helpful, please share it with your friends and family. Together, we can make a positive impact to our health and our communities. Thanks again for listening, and as always, stay healthy and happy. Until next time.